Choosing a middle name can be really tricky, especially if you're in love with the first name and any middle name that you love the idea of just doesn't sound nice with the first one. But I've got a few tips on how to identify like your middle name style. Sometimes it's different than what you think it's going to be. I find that usually most people fall into one of three groups. They like mirroring sounds, complementary sounds, or contrasting sounds. I also want to talk about the syllable rhythm at the end. If you like mirroring sounds, basically you have to identify the sounds that are already present in the first name you're choosing and then find a middle name that has those same sounds within it. So for this example, I used Vivian, and these are a little extreme examples, but I just kind of wanted to get the point across. Like Vivian Vienna, very, very extreme, but it mirrors very well. Vivian Vale would be something a little more subtle. You just want to identify the most prominent sounds. So in this one, V, E, and N. If you like complementary sounds, basically you're going to identify if the name you're choosing has predominantly soft sounds or predominantly harder sounds. So A's, R's, S's, L's are going to be a little softer, whereas like D's, K's, F's, G's, that's a little bit harder. And some names are like a perfect mix of the two, so it's a little harder to do this, but if the name is predominantly soft or predominantly hard, you can choose a middle name that mirrors like the softness or the hardness. So like Arlo West, that's a soft one, but something like Desmond Clark, the name or the sounds in the names aren't the same, but they both have like the strong hard sounds in there, so they complement each other. And that's not everyone's cup of tea. Some people really love contrast. They want a very soft first name and a hard middle name, or vice versa. And so for this example, I'm doing Eloise as like the soft name. So Eloise Kit. Eloise is very soft. Kit is very like abrupt and strong and hard. And you can also do that with like a hard first name and a soft middle name. So like think Frank. We can bring Arlo back and do like Frank Arlo. The final thing to consider are the syllables, and as a general rule, having a different amount of syllables in the first name than in the middle name, that's going to be a little easier to pair and make it sound good, but that doesn't mean there aren't like 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3 syllable names that do sound good. It's just a little trickier to find names that the rhythm flows well. My tip here is say them out loud, but also make other people say them out loud. I've had so many people message me, Vic, I loved the name we chose until I heard everyone around me start saying it, and especially if people have moved to where the dialect is slightly different than the way they speak, and they hear it just like in a slightly different dialect than their own, all of a sudden they don't like the name, they don't like the pairing, they don't like the rhythm anymore. So say the name yourself, but also have other people say it. And personally for me, I care about the first and last name flow more than I do about the first, middle, last, or even the first and middle name. I want them to sound good, but first, last is like my biggest priority. If anyone needs help picking a middle name, feel free to comment the first name you might have chosen and what style that I just spoke about resonates the most with you, and I can weigh in, other people can weigh in, and it can be a little community brainstorm.